Hey guys, this is Eric Weingartner with Weingartner Racing with an update and a video about the new heads that are going on the new engine for the S10. Now, for those that haven't paid attention, on my videos I've talked about the S10 before and showed some things about it. A new engine is being built currently. It's going to be a 406 small block Chevy, and there's nothing wrong with the one that's in it. I just wanted to change some things, see if we can make more power at lower RPM. Anyway, so I purchased this set of heads. Will be on the next motor, and I'll go through them. This is the Brodix Head Hunter head for a small block Chevy. Now, there are three versions of this head. They've got a 229cc port, which is a standard port. This is a raised one right now, but they've got a standard port that's down further. And then they've got two versions that are raised runner, a 225 and a 234. This one's technically not any of those. I have seen the bigger 234 before. A customer brought one in and I flowed it. And then he sent it off to Darren Morgan to have it ported, and I floated it again. And he made pretty good power with it. I haven't tried this one because usually I use this one. This is dirty, but this is the 10X RI. This is the raised runner head that I've used in a lot of. And it has some advantages and disadvantages to this one. But I wanted to try this one because, one, it's an oval. Which has its advantages, but one of the disadvantages, usually ovals are too small, because on a small block Chevy, your restriction's at the pinch, and with an oval, your area shrinks. So it kind of limits your RPM potential. But on this one, because it's a raised runner, it also has take shaft rockers, so there's more area at the push rod pinch, and I should be able to get it. The 406 is only trying to make peak power at 6,800 RPM. So I have an idea of what it's going to take for push rod pinch. Should be around 2.6, and this will get that easily. And I'll probably play some things and get around relatively close to that or around that size. But anyway, let's go through the head. This is not like you would get it from the factory. So if you ordered any of the any of the Head Hunter heads, they would not be like this one. The reason why is I ordered it different than normal because I am going to hand port it. And you're like, wait a minute, isn't it already CNC ported? Yes, but I'll go through it. And there's a reason why I can't flow it or won't flow it, because it'd be pointless. But let's talk about the head and some things about it. One thing is, this head is a 23-degree head. It's got 40-60 valve spacing. So you can run up to a 215 1/600 valve placement, valve layout. And that's what this one will end up having. It'll be a 215 by 1/600. Now, the head itself requires a 180 offset on the lifter, which means the slot for where the push rod goes through would be over. And it also requires shaft rockers. And the shaft rockers can come with a 450 offset, but I'm probably going to order them with a 550 offset. They also, on the Head Hunters, if you look here, look at this bolt hole size, and then compare it to that bolt hole size. For this hole and this hole, they are 3/8. And it's smaller because it gives you more material between the intake ports, that's these two, so that when you're porting, you're not as likely to break through. I'm not as worried. If it does, it does. All right, now here's some of the things I changed from ordering it from the factory. Look at the size of this guide hole, and then look at its neighbor there. This is the intake guide, and that's the exhaust guide. I ordered it with 5/16 intake guides and 11/32 exhaust guides. The reason why is because that smaller diameter should help it flow more, but the bigger advantage to me is the intake valve will weigh less, because it's already going to be a 215 head, so it's going to be a little heavy, nothing compared to like a big block Chevy or nothing. However, the downside of doing that is, as far as I know, no one makes an off-the-shelf 215 head diameter that's this length needed for this head and a 5/16 stem. So it's going to be a custom order intake valve, which is, it's going to cost more, but it's not as expensive as, say, titanium. So that's one change I made. But let's talk about some of the others and why I made them. By the way, this head's here to kind of show you some of the differences. This one, by the way, is a raised runner up 700 thousandths. This one's raised up an inch. So I can raise a port higher in this one. This is a special core, by the way. They have another one that's way down here. The biggest advantage as far as this head to this head is this one, because the intake port's raised up more, in theory, should flow more. The other thing is this. You see this notch here? That's normal. You know what it doesn't have on that one? You know why? The reason why I see that notch, they filled the aluminum up all the way to here on this head. And the reason why they do that is because you can run a regular intake manifold on it. It doesn't take anything special, because if you didn't, your intake port would be all the way down here. So by adding aluminum, you're actually raising the intake manifold up, and it will match that. This one, there's only 2 manifolds to fit it, and I'll show you both in just a minute. So there's that. Anyway, let's look at some other parts of the head and go through them. This is the reason why, one of the reasons why I cannot flow the head. This head actually comes with a full CNC chamber. I had them do the following things that you probably would never do. 1, usually it has a copper bronze exhaust seat. I didn't want that. It's actually not copper bronze, some alloy that they have, but I didn't want that. I wanted ductile, both. 2, I didn't want them to do the chamber. The reason why is because initially I was going to build a 383. And most CNC chambers are like 4155 or bigger. And I was going on a 383, so it's going to be a 4030 bore. So if I don't have them do the chamber work, here definitely I can make it fit a 4030 bore. Because usually, like I said, they're too big. They're bigger than it, and I didn't want that. But now that I'm going to a 406, I don't really need to, but I can shape it the way I want it. That's one change. The second one's this, which doesn't look as obvious. It doesn't look obvious at all, actually, except to me. See if you can see it. Oh, maybe you can see it on that one. You sure can. I'm going to try to shine my light right there at the blob. Flashlight. There. Get my pointer out. See right there? That dark blob? It looks like they did a crappy job on the CNC work. You can also see it in the short side. Oh my gosh, they do horrible. No, they didn't. That's because of me. The reason why it has shadow, that's called a shadowing. The reason why it has shadowing is because I had them do the 225 port, which is the smallest one they have for a raised runner, but I also had them shrink the port down all sides by 30 thousandths. And the reason for doing that is because it gives me more material to work with in areas, so I can grind it to the shape I want instead of the shape they had. Now, someone's going to ask, well, why did you even have them CNC ported? Because it did cost me extra to do it. It's like an extra $650 to have these CNC ported, even though they're not all the way done. Well, here's the reason why. Time. This is for me. This head ain't making me money. On customer stuff, I could charge by the hour or do whatever way I want to make money. This is my time. And I don't have time to work on my own stuff for all the customer stuff. I'm dead serious. And if you're anybody in small business, will tell you this. You think we have the best of the best, but the truth is we don't, because we don't have time to do any of the stuff we want to on our own because we're so busy working on everybody else's stuff. This is a prime example. If I had more time, I would have just said, nope, send me the CNC core. But the CNC head is, like if you don't have the CNC port done, on a CNC head, which this one is, the core that hasn't been ported, the port is very small, and it takes twice as long to port a normal head to do those. And I've done it before, it's not a big deal, except for very time consuming. And quite frankly, I just don't have the time. So part of it, I wanted some of it, in other words, I really just wanted them to rough it in so I could get some of the majority of the grinding out of the way so I can do it. So there you go. I was also supposed to have that done on the exhaust port, but I don't think they did because the exhaust port really looks about the same size as it would be. So it's supposed to be 30 thousandths on the intake port, which for sure I could tell by the shadowing it is, because Brodix never has heads go out with shadowing. I mean, it shouldn't say never, very, very rare. And I don't see any shadows on the exhaust ports. The other thing I had them do is they put a 52-degree seats on these and 55, and I didn't want that because it's a street deal. So I just told them, you know, do a 208 with a 45-degree valve job and a 1/6 with a 45, because I'm going to redo the valve job anyway. So I didn't want steeper angles. Not for this deal. If I did, I want to do it myself. I don't want, once someone's done a 50, if you try to come back with your own 50, sometimes it doesn't come in. It isn't right. So there's that. But if you notice the step in here is because when you ever order 3/8 studs, there's 7/16 in the block, and there's a little step that sticks in here. And that's the reason why that's machined that way. So there's that. But let's flip over and look at the exhaust. I'm gonna flip over the 10X head so you can kind of tell too. Sorry, I'm gonna set down the camera. I need two hands. Sorry for this, there's just me. There. This is the exhaust port. Now, one of my fears was when I got this head, because I asked them, I was like, is the exhaust port the same height as the Dragon Slayers? Because current engine in the S10 has Dragon Slayers that I ported. For whatever reason, the Dragon Slayer's exhaust port is raised up more than the Track 1s. They're a good 200 thousandths taller. And this is one advantage that this has, this 11X raised runner head has over the 10X. Look at them side by side. I'm gonna just straighten up the head a little bit here. Don't drop it. There you go. This is a 10X, and this is the same exhaust port height as the Track 1. This is the height of a Dragon Slayer and the 11X. Do you see the difference? This is raised up. This is not. No amount of porting will make this port flow as good as that one because it's raised. My headers fit this, not that. I would have had problems. So luckily, that worked out good. Anyway, there's the exhaust port side. Now, I told you I would also talk about the intake manifolds that fit it because there's only two, and I've got both. Here are the two. This is a part number MS90, and this is a part number MS91. The MS90 is a 4150, and I have to say, this is the reason why I'm running it, is because I'm running a Holley Sniper on the next engine as well as this one, and it's 4150. Now, I actually like this manifold. Typically on the older Brodix manifolds, which this kind of is, I'm not a fan, because usually they're like this. The HVH design is what I call them, where they got these weird long runners that come through here, or dividers, and a lot of damn grinding. Sorry if I cuss in it. And it takes forever. But this one looks pretty good. Matter of fact, you know what it looks a lot like? The Holley 300-110. That manifold's a great manifold, and I think this one's gonna be pretty good. You might say, why do you have this one? That's actually going on the 10X heads. I've got a lot of grinding ahead of me on this one. So there's your manifolds that fit it. So, a little bit longer video than I wanted. There's your update on the heads. Oh, let me show you what I mean by how small it is. One more thing. I'm gonna sit down the phone, my bad, hold on. Sorry, really, it's just me. There. This is the gasket that fits it. This is for the Head Hunter 234. This should show you how much smaller the port is. When I had to make it smaller, so you can see shadowing again. This is how much smaller the port is from what it should be. If you got the 234 CNC'd, it would be all the way out here. So yeah, see how much smaller I made it? So take that 225 and then shrink it down 30 thousandths, and here we go. If I didn't have any CNC port, we're going to double that distance. So instead of here, you'd be way over here, all the way around in all areas. A lot more grinding. So that should give you an idea. Okay, quick restaurant recommendation, because I'm done with the video. If you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Restaurant recommendation is Kilkenny's. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's an Irish restaurant. I like the car bombs, Irish car bombs, that is. I rarely ever drink alcoholic beverages. Part of the reason was because I was a teacher for so many years. And if I tried to drink anywhere in the state of Oklahoma, inevitably either see a student or a parent. So even though there's nothing against the rules that say you can't, it just was an awkward deal, so I rarely ever did. However, I'm no longer in that profession. From time to time, I'll go out there, and I love their Irish car bombs, but their food is also amazing. Love it. It's a great atmosphere, and good luck getting in. Most of the time, it's crazy busy. It's on Cherry Street in Tulsa. Very good, and those people are amazing. Service is always good. Love that place. Anyway, whoa, I had one more thing I wanted to add for the guys that make it to the end of this video. This is a serious question, not related to cars at all, but I really did want to know from the population because my wife can't answer the question. I've asked other people, but they don't know because it's not really their field. So hopefully someone out here in the 2,200 subscribers I almost have, and thank you all, can answer this question. I've only just recently, probably within the last year, started drinking coffee. And my other job I work at, they have coffee which is Folgers, and it's in this pouch that where the coffee grounds are already with the filter, and you just drop it in. Anyway, that coffee tastes incredibly smooth. So my wife, being nice that she is, she got me a Keurig, and same Folgers, same roast and everything, but it tastes dramatically different. So my question to you guys, and maybe you can answer this, is on the Keurig coffee stuff, does it to you guys taste bitter or weird? Because it tastes so much better from the one at work, and I know they're not spending the money that I'm spending on these Keurig deals. So can anybody out there, or at least kind of answer that question? Because I really am curious. If I don't know, and I've tried different ones. I've tried Dunkin' Keurigs and Maxwell House, and none of them taste smooth like the Folgers does. They taste bitter and like just bitter and harsh. I don't know. It smells good, but they never taste right. So I don't know if it's a Keurig thing or what. So I was hoping maybe some of the 2,000 people randomly, maybe one of your coffee connoisseur or whatever, could kind of answer that. Also, thanks again for listening to the video. I appreciate it. You guys take care.